Yo, what's up ladies and gentlemen, my name is Trevor Casual and welcome to the first Escape from Tarkov video on the channel. So today, we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 things that I have learned that I think that new players should focus on in their first 100 hours of playing EFT. Y'all ready? Let's hit it.
Coming in, flex, I just wanna win, LABB who we running with, 2233, I'm on 10 again, state your name, big dope on flame, I just switched the lanes.
Alright peeps, so before we dive into the nitty gritty of today's video, I just wanted to preface this by saying that I am by no means the best or most knowledgeable individual about EFT. I'm still fairly new to this game as well. I'm within my first about 120 hours of playtime, so this video, very geared towards players that are just like myself. They're just starting out, they're maybe within a couple of first 200 hours of playing, and they're just starting to find out and dive deep into the depths that EFT has to offer. So also, I come from a console background. I've played Call of Duty exclusively for most of my gaming career, if that's what you want to call it. So all I've known is that very run and gun style, very fast-paced style of gameplay. I know there's a lot of players out there that are hopping into EFT that are just like me and come from similar backgrounds. So I want to make this video so I can help you guys out as much as possible and kind of take you on this journey with me as I learn each and every day a little bit more about what EFT has to offer. So with that said, let's pop into number 1. Alright peeps, so tip number 1, this could possibly be the most important thing that we cover in today's video, and that is that audio is the king of information in EFT, in my humble opinion. The sound engine that they have put into EFT is unlike anything that I've personally ever experienced when gaming before. It is incredibly detailed. You can hear the most minute things from players walking on wood, players walking on gravel, even down to somebody aiming down their sights when they're about to blast your freaking face off. All those things have audio cues that new players might not be aware of. So when you're going through your raids, especially early in the beginning, pay attention to the audio that is going on around you. Take your time, slow it down a little bit, pause and listen every now and then, because you never know, somebody might be around the corner who just ADS'd and can see your butt cheeks and really wants to touch them. Alright, so tip number 2, we're talking about offline raids and how you can use them as a new player to help get better. So if you're unfamiliar, there is a feature when you're going through the map selection screen that you can enable offline mode. What that allows you to do is go into the raid by yourself or with only scavs. Now the beauty of this is if you die in an offline raid, you're not going to lose anything. Anything that you take in with you will come back. This is purely for a practice standpoint. Now the best ways that I have found to use offline mode, my main 2 was to learn the different maps. So learn how to navigate through, learn the different flows of the maps, learn what loot you can expect to spawn where. So learning maps is definitely a great use for the offline mode feature. And the second part is to practice your gun skill or practice your PvP skills. Now, again, offline, you're not actually going against actual players, but you can go in and enable the PvE or scavs to spawn. So that's going to allow you to practice, again, gun skill and also learn where scavs typically might spawn on any given map. Scavs have a specific spawn point on each map, so learning those can come in handy. So also one other thing with the offline mode section, do not take all your fancy gear into an offline raid and expect to get better. Because newsflash chief, it's not going to happen. Take gear that you would take into an actual raid, use that gear in your offline raid. That's going to allow you to get more familiar with your weapons, more familiar with your armor, and just overall be more comfortable with those more budget style loadouts that you're going to be starting a lot with in your first couple 100 hours of playtime. So those are my biggest tips for offline mode. The most thing that I used it for was definitely to practice my gun skill. So even if it's just killing scavs, I still get bopped by scavs every now and then. It happens to everybody. Sometimes that sneaky fucker comes around and just bops you in the head with a one tap with a shotty. It happens. So it's all about using offline mode the smartest way possible. All right, tip number 3, we're talking about learning the value that items that you find have. Now, it's very common for new players, I know I did this myself especially, I still do this myself, is to be loot goblins, man. Like, go through and just gobble up, pick up every item that you see. Especially as a beginner, your inventory space is sacred, almost in a way. You're not gonna have a lot of it, and B, you don't want to fill it up with garbage that's not gonna be worth money or is not going to help you advance in some way. So the way that I like to do this is learn the values that different items have. So when you go into a raid, let's say you extract, you have a duffel bag full of random shit. You have bolts, you have a jar of mayonnaise, and maybe you found a GP coin. Being a new player, you don't know what any of this shit means at all. The best practice that I like to do is take the items and first go into the traders and see what they sell to traders for. Now, each trader typically will give you the most for specific items, but I don't want you to focus too much on that right now. I want you to focus on getting comfortable with the interface and taking that item, be like, all right, this trader is gonna give me X amount, this trader is gonna give me X amount for this, so on and so forth. And the second part of this is using the flea market to value items as well. Now, if you are unaware, there are 2 ways that you can sell items. You can sell items to traders, or you can sell items on the flea market. The flea market is the global, basically, trader for the entire player base that you can list your items and make rubles off of. So, first cross-reference your item on the trader. Then from there, look it up on the flea market as well. You can right-click on the item, click filter by item, and that'll show you what that item is selling for on the flea market. This is a great way to see if because some items sell for a lot more on the flea market than you can get from a trader, but other items sell better to traders than they do on the flea market. So especially early on when you're trying to maximize the amount of profit and dollars that you take in, using this tip and learning what items have the best value is going to be huge for your bank account. All right, so moving on. Tip number 4, this is that accept the fact that you are going to get shit on. A lot. Like dumpstered. A lot. It's okay, Snowflake. You're gonna be all right. So the thing is, Tarkov is a very unforgiving game, especially new players. They come in, they don't really know the maps, they don't really know what the hell is going on. So dying often is a very real possibility, but what I want you to take away from this one is that recognize that it is going to happen and don't get mad when it does. That's not to say that sometimes deaths can be frustrating. Even for experienced players, deaths are frustrating, but it's just part of the cycle. The last thing that I want for especially new players is to have a Call of Duty type experience where they go into a raid, they get shot in the face in the first 60 seconds, and then they're like, you know what, I'm just going to get off. This isn't for me. Give it a little bit of time. If you can understand that, again, you're going to die quite frequently when you're first learning, it's going to help your enjoyment process and minimize your little baby rage meter in the long run, allow you to have a little bit more fun. So speaking of getting dumpstered, if you want to watch me get dumpstered by players that are far superior to me at this game and watch my kind of learning process and have a little laughs, I'll leave a link in the description. I do a stream Escape from Tarkov a few days a week on Twitch, so that link will be where it needs to be. Come by, say hey, have some laughs. Let's jump into the final tip of today. So last tip here, ladies and gentlemen, number 5. We're going to take all the previous tips we've discussed and kind of roll it into one big tip with this last one here. So number 5 is going to be always go into a raid with a plan. So plan out ahead of time before you hop into a raid what you'd like to accomplish in that given raid. Whether that be you want to do a money run, you're looking for just specifically PvP, hell, maybe you just want to go practice shooting some scavs, but have that adrenaline of being in a real raid as opposed to using it offline. Identifying your goals ahead of time is going to allow you to be a lot more effective, concise, and efficient while you're going through your raids. Let's say you want to do a money run. Go ahead of time. Let's say you want to do a money run on Interchange. Pull up a map of Interchange, figure out where all the good, valuable loot spawns are, and that way you can map yourself through a nice little path that's going to allow you to get the most loot and get out safely so you can make that Skrilla. On the flip side, let's say you're just looking for PvP in a specific raid. Let's say you want to go to customs and you want to fight other players. Looking at the customs map, identifying what the hot zones for PvP are is going to be a great way to make sure that you are prepared for what you're getting yourself into. So going into the dorms area or the gas station area on customs typically will be those heavy PvP areas to focus on. So planning that ahead of time will allow you to make a more educated decision on what kind of gear as well you should bring into a raid. If you're doing a money run, you might not need all the fancy weapons and stuff. Maybe you just need a budget loadout with some basic armor and a helmet. But if you're going for PvP, you might need to bust out the big boy armor a little bit, maybe get a little bit more mid-tier to expensive loadout if you're looking just for that PvP style. So again, using the plan ahead of time to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success in a given raid is always going to be a good idea. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you today. That is my top 5 things that I think new players should focus on when they're just starting out in EFT. If you did enjoy the content, make sure hit the subscribe button. Maybe leave a like if you're feeling like it. Also, leave a comment down below what you feel like your biggest learning experience so far in Tarkov has been. I would love to kind of hear what you guys think. You know, similar players, maybe we have different learning experience. I would love to hear what you guys had as your best learning experience down below. So that's it for me. Again, my name is Trevor Casual. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see y'all in the next one.